Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to Game Week 8. My name is Joe and as ever I'm joined by Neale to look at the latest team news, injuries and developments ahead of the deadline as well. Just before we go on, just remember to do press that like button, does help us out, and also do remember to subscribe, keep updated with our latest videos and podcasts. Neale, welcome, how are you?
Good, thank you, Joe. Yeah, hope you've had a nice couple of weeks off there. I am on my phone today. If anyone thinks I look a bit different or
Yes,
I sound a bit different, but hopefully it's a bit more trustworthy than my laptop, which keeps crashing for some reasons.
okay, yeah. So so the image there's a little bit of a black screen around Neale there, but yes, because he's on his phone there. Welcome to those in the live chat. The live chat. I went very West Country there. Obviously been living here too long. Martin, Di, Anil, Tiger, J77 Lag, Simon, Magic, Thomas, many more. Thanks so much for joining us early in the live chat. Some good chat about Dolly Parton and Joy Division in the live chat just before we were coming on air, which is always good. Okay, let's start with the first fixture. This is the Saturday game, and I think probably the most eagerly anticipated because a lot of interest, especially from wildcarders and Chelsea assets. So Nottingham Forest, who, let's be frank, are terrible at the moment, are taking on Chelsea, who are quite good, but will all their players be fit? So we'll go with the home side first. What's the latest from Ange Postecoglou about his side?
Yeah, this is one of the last ones this afternoon. I haven't seen it all the way through, but I have seen reports from that press conference that Louise, Zinchenko and Murillo are all fit. Murillo was on the bench in Game Week 7. He's had sort of thigh niggles on and off for a few weeks. So it sounds good. Chris Wood, who was flagged after a New Zealand duty. His national team coach wasn't too concerned at the time, said it was a pre-existing thing. They were just managing him. And Ange said this afternoon, I have seen this quote, that his internationals have returned unscathed, so it sounds like he's all right. I think that just leaves one absentee confirmed, and that is Ola Aina.
Okay, right, Joe. And as for Chelsea, let's go with Enzo Fernandez first, and then the rest of the squad. So, is he going to be ready?
Well, we don't know. There's been mixed reports this week. I mean, he pulled out of the Argentina squad earlier this week. I think it was around about Monday. And it was cited as knee swelling, inflammation in his knee. But he has had that for a while, or he has had knee issues, and he's been pictured with strapping around his knee. And then there's a few reporters, such as Nizar Kinsella from the BBC, who suggested that he was always going to pull out. He was always going to miss that Puerto Rico game on Wednesday and spend time with his family and rest up for Game Week 8, sorry. But this morning, Maresca faced the media and said that Enzo has not trained, along with two others, Moises Caicedo and Pedro Neto. So this was not in training yesterday. Obviously still got today to remedy that issue. Yeah. And I have seen pictures of Caicedo actually on the grass.
Yeah, Caicedo and Neto were pictured in training yesterday.
Yeah.
So that would indicate someone's lying somewhere.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the gallery could have been from earlier in the week, I suppose. Neto, I don't know when Portugal's last game was regarding Neto, but obviously Caicedo's been at the West London for the entire break. He wasn't called up by Ecuador; he's given a rest.
Okay.
And Enzo came back early. So yeah, he mentioned that first, and then later in the press conference when he was talking about some players who he is getting back, and I'll address those in a second. He did say Enzo a doubt, Moi Caicedo a doubt, and Pedro Neto a doubt.
Okay.
So still some uncertainty there.
Okay,
it is the early game, which is good. So we might get a little heads up. You never know. They're becoming fewer and farther between, aren't they? The early team news leaks. We don't get as many these days. Well, there might be some training ground images emerge from this afternoon because Maresca held his press conference this morning. So just keep tabs, I think, on social media and on our site, and hopefully we'll get a heads up. There's plenty more to discuss from Chelsea. There really is a lot to get through. Okay. Cole Palmer being the headline, I think, news of this, as has been reported elsewhere and now confirmed by Maresca. He's going to be out for another 6 more weeks. He doesn't need surgery, or that's the line that towing anyway. But they're trying to protect him as much as they can. And even Maresca said today they're hopeful that it'll remedy the issue, but then they can't say for certain whether he will be back in that 6 week period. But that'll be obviously the other side of the November international, so he's out. Badia Shields joined the injury list. He's out till December with a muscle injury. So Colwell, Isugo, and Delap, they're all still injured as well, and Mudryk suspended. Better news elsewhere. Reece James is fit.
Mm-hmm.
He missed or pulled out of England due to with I think it was a shin wound, but he's fine. Fully fit, said Maresca. Chalobah's back from suspension. Fofana's back from a concussion. And Tosin and Andres Santos are back from injuries as well. So 4 back from unavailability.
Okay, what's your instinct with the who's going to play? Obviously, we know Pedro's going to play because he can't play in Europe, so he would look secure for game week 8 and 9. But what do you think with Europe coming up and with the internationals and players coming back from internationals? Would it seem likely? I mean, is Enzo quite a serious doubt, or is this just sort of a bit of kidology from them?
Well, we don't know. That's the thing. I mean, we assumed it was. I think I'm more confident with Caicedo because he has been rested for the entire break, and he has been actually seen on the training ground. With Neto, I mean, they've got alternatives. They've got plenty of alternatives like Garnacho, Estevao, and Gittins. So I think he might not start. I think Enzo's a big one. I think I'll have to look into that a bit more. They haven't really. I mean, in the past, Maresca's labelled Caicedo and Enzo doubts a lot.
Yeah, and
they've always played.
Right.
He tends to push them through the barriers. But we'll see. We'll see if anything comes out. At the back, I think, obviously, Chalobah will come back in. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with Badia Sheila, that might fast-track Tossin's return as well, because he has been mentioned before about being able to progress from the back, build from the back with... if Colwell's not there, then Tosin is generally the one he turns to, so it might be him alongside Chalobah. Fofana's back to, of course, as well, and maybe Gusto in midfield again, as was the case against Liverpool, because we had James at right back, Gusto playing alongside Caicedo with Enzo further forward. So a lot to still think about.
A lot to digest there, especially for those who want a bench boost as well. That's always a tricky time, and something I might mention because I was hoping to play my bench boost this week, but there's some flags on some of my players as well. Okay, let's move on to Brighton against Newcastle. It's the team news derby. Finally. Brighton usually does well in this, but you never know. You never know. So what's the latest from the home side?
Hurtler first one up this morning. He said that Brian Gruder's out. He dropped out of the Germany under-21 squad this week with a knee injury. Diego Gomez, he had a muscle issue with Paraguay, but he should be all right, it sounds like. There's a high chance, according to Hurtler. Mitoma and Veltman both missed out in game week 7. Both have trained, but Hurtler sort of had question marks over them. He said those are exact words, actually. Both a question mark. They're going to see how they do in training today and then make a decision. And then Hinchelwood, Webster and March, they're all still out as well.
Okay, rightio. And as for Newcastle as well, they've had some injury problems as well recently.
They have, yeah. It's not quite as bad on some of them that we were fearing. So Lewis Hall, for example, there was a report that he could be out for quite a while with a hamstring injury. He is red flagged. He will miss game week 8. But Howe said this morning, actually, his second scan's a lot more positive, and they're hoping to get him back before the November internationals.
Okay.
Livramento will be on the other side of that. Vissa should be this side of the international break. He's on the grass for the first time after his knee injury, but they will be taking him very, very carefully. And I think it'll be early November, just for substitute duty for him. So I don't think he'll start before the November international break, but he might feature in the matchday squad. Harrison Ashby's injured, but he's very much an afterthought. Joe Linton's come back from Brazil with, I think, a minor groin issue, but Howe's confident of him being all right. He did mention Lewis Miley, he's got a car problem, but again, he said the internationals have come back all right, so we think he's fine. Ramsey's available, Jacob Ramsey, another one of our big money signings. And Willis Sula has a little ankle issue. He's playing through it, though. He's not out. He's a modified training, and Howe said he'll probably be in the squad.
Okay, I just wanted to go back to Brighton for a second there because there was something else I was reading from Hurtler saying about Minter can play on the right and the left, and he indicated that he's liked him playing on the left at the moment. He'd like to have got more crosses in because he's left-footed coming in from that side. So that could could mean that Matoma once again might sit out this one, especially if there's a doubt around him, and we could see Minter there. But without Gruder, I would have, I mean, we imagine Ruter's going to play. Just a question of where. So I think Ruter.
Yeah, Ruter's played on the right before, hasn't he? He could go over to there, and it sounds like Gomez might be all right. So he's got options in the 10 as well.
Yeah, definitely. So it could be Gomez 10, Welbeck up front, then Ruter at the 9. So I think Ruter owned. The point of that really is if anyone who's got Ruter should feel confident that he'll start, but I don't know where. Okay, let's move on to Burnley against Leeds. Now, bizarrely, this is the fixture I'm most interested in.
Yeah.
I have Rodon on my bench. I have Jayden Anthony, Lyle Foster as well. Let's go with Burnley first. So some flags there with some of my players and others. What's the latest from Burnley, especially some of those flag players?
Yeah, goodish news on Lyle Foster without it being a clean bill of health. He only suffered a dead leg before he left the South Africa camp earlier this week. And Parker said yesterday that we're hoping he'll be fine for the weekend. Obviously, just going to have to check him in training first to make sure. Nothing else mentioned on the injury front, not the broadcast section anyway.
Okay.
Other than the existing ones. So Jordan Bayer, Connor Roberts, Hamdouni, they're all still out. Nothing asked of Jayden Anthony, who the quote from Parker 2 weeks ago when he came off early at Villa Park, was it Aston Villa they were playing?
Yeah.
He said he suffered a big hit in the quad, but it did sound more precautionary in nature. He said he didn't want to leave him on for it to just sort of hobble around. And there was nothing asked of it. I'll keep checking Burnley Express in case of anything embargoed. I did ask Matt Scrafton, who's the journalist on Twitter, if he heard anything, but he hasn't responded yet.
Yeah, I've been monitoring this as well.
Yeah.
My instinct with that one with Jayden Anthony, because he has been getting a lot of popularity amongst FPL managers, is that the fact that he wasn't mentioned was that he's fine because he wasn't actually injured. He was just taken off as a sort of a precaution. And you would imagine he's there. But yeah, there is doubt there. I've been looking for a lot of teams have been putting out training pictures as well, and we'll come to that with when we get to Sunderland in a second. But I haven't seen any from Burnley at the moment. I don't know whether they normally do that or that's yet to come. But anyway, so those with Burnley assets. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more information, and hopefully, we'll see some of those players in training. There. Let's go for Leeds now. What's happening at Leeds as they prepare for this? Well, classic 6-pointer.
Yeah, El Crapico, they might do it. But actually, both of them been quite good since they came up. Willie Nonto's still out. It's a different issue though. He's recovered from his calf problem, but he's got a hernia and he's had a surgery on it. Should be back next week. Harry Gray, similar timeline. He's sidelined with a hip flexor issue, but he should be back next week as well. Okay. The fresh out is Noah Okafor with an adductor issue, but more positive team news elsewhere. Lucas Perry, the goalkeeper, he's back in training, has been for a fortnight. Muscle issue. And Dan James is way ahead of schedule and possibly even in contention for a place on the bench after himself returning to training. On Lucas Perry, because I know some people might have Darlow as their backup goalkeeper and are thinking about bench boosting, for example, this week. You should be absolutely fine with Darlow this week because Parker said yesterday that Perry is definitely not a topic right now for the starting lineup. Okay. And he needed a couple of weeks with training with his new teammates. He's great, Parker, actually. He's one of the better ones for telling you the team.
Good.
He's one of his predecessors, Bielsa. But yeah, it sounds like Darlow's going to definitely start in this game and might be all right for the next couple as well.
Rightio. As J77 Lag says in the live chat, this is the El Crapico. So, but I tell you what could be the El Crapico is Crystal Palace against Bournemouth. Now, I would have thought when you look at these two sides, very attacking, good sides on a high at the moment, that this would be a really exciting game. But I think it was 0-0 both their games last season. So this could be a ball fest. Let's go with Crystal Palace first. What's the latest there?
Yeah, Palace haven't scored in 4 attempts against a Bournemouth side led by Iraola. So he's never conceded a single goal at the Palace.
Okay.
So yeah, they're actually in good condition, Palace, injury-wise. They've got no fresh concerns from the international break. So the only ones that are out confirmed are the longer-term ones like Decoria and Chadi Riyad, and even he's nearly back. Riyad, he was hoping to be back for this game, but it's been pushed back by 1 or 2 weeks. So pretty good fitness situation at Palace.
Okay, right here. And as for Bournemouth, though?
Yeah, one fresh injury from the internationals. David Brooks has picked up a hamstring issue while away with Wales. Not a serious one, but he'll be ruled out of this one. Enes Ünal's still out as well. They've got Julio Soler at the Under-20 World Cup, so he's out. Adam Smith could be back, though. He's trained and could be involved on the bench. He's been out, I think, since the end of August with a hamstring injury. As for their internationals, so Marcus Senesi, of course, is very well owned and will be started by a lot of managers this week. He was one of the last ones back from international duty because he's been away with Argentina and they were in action in the early hours of Wednesday morning. But he didn't play then. He was an unused sub.
Okay.
And Iraola said this morning that the second game is the most important one. So it's a boost that he didn't start that. I think only one of the 5 players back late, which was Alex Jimenez, one of the right backs. He was the only one who played significant minutes. So it sounded like Iraola was saying, yeah, he's going to be all right. He said he might have a bit of jet lag, but he's going to train today. He trained yesterday even. And he said Palace are going to be in the same situation with Munoz and Lerma, so he's not unduly bothered.
Okay, let's move on to Man City against Everton. We already know for Everton that Jack Grealish can't play because he's a Man City player on loan at Everton, so he's ineligible. But let's go with Man City. What's the latest there?
You might have seen this yesterday. 2 players back in training. Sky cameras caught them. Omar Marmoush and Ryan Aït-Nouri, both in training. And then today, Pep said they are much, much better and close to coming back. Not so good on Kuzanov, who wasn't featured. He was, I think, on a similar timeline to Aït-Nouri and Marmoush, but he wasn't seen in that training ground video. And neither was Rodri, who came off against Brentford with a hamstring injury. And Pep said, I don't know how long he's going to be out. Not ready for tomorrow, though. So sideline for this one. I think that's pretty much it. Kovacic came back before the break. And Guardiola said it'll be step by step with him. And Pep mentioned about Gvardiol getting a lot of minutes, as happened last season. But he said he's just so physically great and recovering that he's not bothered by that.
Okay, and as for Everton as well, so we know Jack Grealish can't play, and we know Keenan Dewsbury-Hall should be back because he's got a one-match ban. So that's over. What else is going on at Everton?
Yeah, injury-wise, pretty good news, actually. Branthwaite and Merlin Roll, they've both been back on the grass and actually in first-team training as well. I've seen some gallery images on the Everton site of Branthwaite actually in first-team training, so it's not just running or individual rehab. So it sounds like he'll be close. I saw Michael Keane there as well. He came off... he got a blow between the ribs against Crystal Palace. Wasn't mentioned by Moyes today, but we have seen him in the training images, so he sounds like he's all right. Only one concern, and it's not going to bother the starting 11. It's Nathan Patterson, who picked up an injury in midweek. Okay,
let's move on to Sunderland against Wolves. So I have seen some training pictures, or I think are training pictures, that show that Alderete, who was a initial doubt because he was drawn from his country, he was pictured there, and he's been pictured a couple of times. People have matched his leg tattoos. So he's definitely there, and then he's also been spotted in the background. And I think he even posted a picture of him walking to training on his Instagram account today. So you can tell I've been looking at this in bit of detail. So if that chimes with your interpretation of whether Alderete's been going to play or not, and what else is going on at Sunderland?
Yeah, it would have been good if we'd had the press conference today from Reggie Labrie, but he faced the media yesterday, and even he was confident then, even though he hadn't actually seen Alderete. He was on a flight back from where they were playing, I think the States. But he said he'd had a quick chat with him yesterday and he was positive. He did say we have to wait, but as you've mentioned there, the training ground images kind of supersede the press conference in terms of contemporary updates. So I think he looks all right. Same with Siddiqui as well. He came off when he was away on international duty. They've actually checked him out already, or had checked him out yesterday, and he seems okay. So both of those sound quite positive, and no other fresh concerns from the international break. So it's just Ronaldo who's out, the final game of his 3-match ban, and then the 5 pre-existing injuries: Mundle, Zirkin, Elise, Hjelde, and Diarra. Okay, and what is the latest with Wolves then? Yeah, we've had Victor Pereira up this afternoon. he did mention, I haven't actually, again, one of the press conferences I haven't actually seen in person, so I can't quote you verbatim quotes, but I have seen it reported from Liam Keane at the Express and Star that Hwang is a minor injury concern, Hwang Hee-chan. Bellegarde struggling with illness as well. Doherty, he underwent wrist surgery before the break, and I think he's still out. Chiwomi as well. Totti Gomez, who did miss out in Game Week 7 with an illness, he was pictured in training over the break and given an interview on the Wolves site, so we think he's...
Okay, I think was I reading something about Strand Larsen as well, saying that he's still nursing a bit of a problem, but it didn't indicate that he wouldn't play, but it did indicate that he's still got an issue. Yeah,
he's had this for pretty much the entire season actually, and even before Game Week 7, last time out, Pereira said he's not 100%, which led many to think he wouldn't start, and then he did actually start that game. So I think he's just playing through this Achilles issue. He featured for Norway during the break. So I think he's just going to play through the PM barrier for now.
Okay, right, yeah. That's slightly annoying for perhaps those wildcarding as well, because Wolves fixtures turn now. So they've got a good run of fixtures as well. And obviously, was he 6.4 now, Strand Larsen? It's still a good price, especially because strikers are not so great this season on the whole. Let's move to Fulham and Arsenal. Usually not much at Fulham, but there have been a few injuries actually at Fulham, particularly amongst their strikers. But how are they set up for this clash with Arsenal?
Yeah, this is they've got a lot of problems, especially by their standards. So I'll have to double check on these, whether these are red flags or like 25% flags. I've only gone off what Jack Kelly quoted on Twitter, and he's a reporter who's present at every press conference. But he said that Robinson, Muniz and Lukic are all out. Chukwueze is likely to join them. He's got a calf problem and he's having a scan. And I think he said Tete and Jimenez are doubtful. Okay. So that's 6 who could potentially miss out. Again, I'll have to watch that properly all the way through and then get the exact quote to see who is actually confirmed out. But there is 6 doubts there at least, and it sounds like most of them will miss out.
Blimey.
So that does weaken them. They've not got the biggest squad.
No, it sounds like that's good news if you've got double Arsenal defence.
Yeah, definitely.
Not sure who they'll have really. Traore maybe.
Well, it was Josh King up front in Game Week 7, the cheap midfielder, sort of like a false 9, and then Wilson and I think it was Iwobi playing around him. So, they are struggling for numbers up top. Okay.
Meanwhile, Arsenal, we know that Odegaard's going to be out. I wasn't sure how long he's going to be out for, but I guess Arteta's probably confirmed that now. And what else has he been saying?
It's sort of confirmed. He confirmed he's out and will be out for weeks, but he didn't mention how many weeks.
Okay.
There were suggestions that Odegaard will be out, I think, out till the November break. But obviously Arteta hasn't confirmed that yet, but we won't see him anytime soon. That's for sure. Madueke, Havertz and Jesus, they're still out, of course. Zubamendi's fine, though. He wasn't seen... he actually was seen in Thursday's open training session, but he was just watching on from the sidelines while everyone else trained. But he's fine. Arteta just said he'd give him an extra day of rest because his workload's been quite heavy recently. And he played twice again, I think, over the break for Spain. Ben White was absent from that session on Thursday, but again, sounds like a similar situation, even though he wasn't on international duty. Arteta said very similar to the Zubamendi situation. We are monitoring all the players and giving a specific menu, we called it, to each of them to make sure they are in the best condition. So it sounds like they're just monitoring White's training. Hincapie as well, he should be okay. He's been training again. So I think it's just the 4 I mentioned there who are out: Odegaard, Madueke, Havertz and Jesus.
Okay, right here. Let's move on to another North London club, Tottenham, against Aston Villa this time around. So let's go with the Spurs. Spurs first. What shape are they in as they prepare to host Aston Villa?
They're going to get 1 striker back. They might have 2 very soon. Kolo Muani is available. He had a dead leg, was dragged down for a while, but he played in a behind closed doors friendly over the break, and he's fit. Solanke's not far away as well. He's Frank said something like it's not to say he couldn't contribute something tomorrow. So it sounds like he's even got an outside chance of featuring. I suspect that might hold him back. So he's returned from an ankle injury is looming. Dragason's been training, Takai's been training. They've been longer term, so I'm not sure how match fit they are. Madison's still out, Kulusevski's still out. Basuma, he was stretchered off while playing for Mali. He hasn't been playing for Spurs anyway, and he faces a few weeks out. And we didn't get an update on Ben Davies, who limped off for Wales, but again, he is not part of the regular starters.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, and with Aston Villa, there's quite a few doubts going into this. What's the latest with them?
Sounds positive on Watkins and elsewhere, actually. So Watkins, he collided with a post while playing for England against Wales around about a week ago, and he pulled out of the squad on Monday. But Tuchel at the time was confident that he'd be fit or positive, and then it sounds like Emery's ratified that this afternoon, but in Emery speak, which is always a little bit hard to decipher. And the exact quote was, "Tomorrow we train again, and normally he will be ready for Sunday." So in normal circumstances, he will be ready. Similar with Sancho and Buendia. Sancho had an illness last time out. Buendia suffered a blow to the head. But because it was international break, a 12-day concussion protocol has been served. So it sounds like those two will be back as well. Even Tyrone Mings, he's training. He's done individual training. And he will be assessed in team training before Emery makes a decision on whether he's going to be involved against Spurs. So that really, I think, only leaves Tielemans on the sidelines, and he's had a setback, we think, certainly been reported widely in the press. I don't think Emery's confirmed it, but apparently a setback that could leave him out until after the November internationals.
Okay, let's move on to Liverpool against Manchester United. Both teams in slightly questionable form, but you would imagine Liverpool, as the home side, could do a little better in this. But nevertheless, what sort of shape are they in, and who do you think is going to start up top?
Yeah, that's a big question, isn't it? Because Isak did get 180 minutes for Sweden, but there's quite a big gap between his last international and this Sunday's game. And Slot said this afternoon that he's now pretty much up to speed, that he's had his sort of 5 weeks of a glorified pre-season, obviously delayed, where he's had his minutes managed. But he says fitness-wise, I think he's now close to the level he should be. And I think we can judge him in a fair way from now on. So there will, of course, be shared minutes between Ekitike and Isak going forward, but who starts this weekend? That's a big question. Injury-wise, it's looking pretty good, actually, better than we thought. So Konate came off from Game Week 7 and then I think exited this France camp with a quad issue, but he has trained and it sounds like he's all right. Same with Gravenberg as well. He came off with a hamstring discomfort while playing for the Netherlands last weekend. That was a precautionary sub and he has trained, and even Slot even said Ryan is completely fit, so not even any ambiguity about that. Okay. Endo was the only sort of notable absentee from that international group who he withdrew from the Japan squad. He wouldn't be in the starting 11 anyway. He wasn't seen in training on Friday. Alisson is still out, so Mamardashvili is secure for now. All Slot would say on a timeline is that it wouldn't be this weekend and it wouldn't be next week. So we won't see him for the next 2 game weeks at least. Leone's out for the season. Dan's is out as well. And I think that is it.
Okay, right, yeah. And as for Manchester United, what's the latest there?
Yeah, not too bad. Don't be alarmed if you didn't see Bruno in training yesterday. It was just that he was given an extra day of rest after international duty. Same with Casemiro, Cunha and Ahmad. And Amarim said today that the guys returning from international teams are ready to play. So I think the only absentees are Martinez, who's definitely out, Mazraoui, who was a doubt, and Aidan Heaven. He came back from England under-20 duty with an unspecified issue, and he wasn't seen in training on Thursday. Okay,
right. Yeah. And the final game, this Monday's game, West Ham against Brentford. Now, I have some questions about West Ham's attackers for you. So we know that Souček's back from a 3-match ban. That's fine, midfield. But I saw that Füllkrug could be out for this one. So is that clarified? And who could replace him? Because my instinct would have been Callum Wilson, but apparently it might be their wonder kid, who's a 20-year-old Northern Ireland striker.
Yeah, and a very, very, very cheap FPL forward as well. I don't think, is he 4.4, something like that?
He is, because I've checked because I might get him in.
Yeah, Marshall is his name. And he was turned to in Game Week 7 by Nuno rather than Wilson. He came on first. So we will see. And obviously, Nuno, as you would expect, he wasn't committal this afternoon on who we would pick. He just says he relished the fight between the two of them. But yeah, Füllkrug, going back to him, he's out, I think, pretty much almost certainly. That he's had a scan today, and they're awaiting the results of that. But obviously, they're not going to play him if they don't know the results of the scan, unless it's a complete clear scan and he's got 3 days for the Monday night game. But I very much doubt it.
Yeah.
thigh problem for him. George Earthy's still out with a hamstring injury. And that is it in terms of injuries. As you said there, Souček is back. And Nuno confirmed this afternoon that the players that came back from the national teams are okay.
I think those who wanted to get Marshall in, either people like me who are looking at a bench boost player or just a cheap player on the bench, I think you could be secure of minutes because even if Wilson starts, I had to look at Wilson's minutes. He's barely mustered more than 30, 40 minutes.
Wilson is never going to last 90 minutes, not for a long time.
And so Marshall's the only alternative, really. I can't see. I mean, unless he plays Bowen up front, I guess.
He could do. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, his predecessor, I had ignored both Fulkrug and Wilson at one point. He was playing Paqueta up top as like a false-ish 9. Bowen's had, as you say, had plenty of experience. So I'd probably like to see what he does first this weekend before committing. But obviously, if you're in a wild card or you're playing a bench boost this week, you haven't got the luxury of that.
No.
But I think he will get minutes, Marshall, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I think he will as well. And he played for 15 minutes. I've really been researching this. Played for 15 minutes for his country and was very good, apparently. And he's been playing for his country for much longer than he's got his Premier League minutes in, only recently. Brentford, what's the latest there?
Yes, Brentford are in, I think, reasonable nick. Hickey came back from Scotland duty with a knee niggle, but he's trained. He's been on the grass today, so we think he's all right. One big blow. I mean, it's not going to really affect the first team, but Anthony Malambo, who's one of the central midfield options, he suffered a season-ending knee injury while playing for the Netherlands under the 21s. But apart from that, it's pretty much clear. Gustavo Nunes has been out for a long time. He's back on the grass and in full training, and even got through 45 minutes for the under-21s on Tuesday, so he could be added to the squad this weekend. Okay. And Paris Begoma, who's been out for a while, again, he's training. So other than Malambo's long-term, it sounds like everyone's pretty much fit. Okay,
right, yeah. I'll try and round up most of that. So available, quite a lot of available now. So Branthwaite has been spotted in training as well. Jacob Ramsey should be back, available rather. Lots back at Chelsea. Tosin, Fofana, Reece James. Diego Gomez should be okay for Brighton. Gravenberch should be okay for Liverpool, and Konate should be too. Moani is available for Spurs. Chris Woods should be fine for Nottingham Forest, as should Murillo and Luiz there. And Zinchenko. Watkins, Buendia and Sancho all should be available for Aston Villa. Questionable though, Keane, he got a knock in the ribs. Not sure he's going to start. Enzo Fernandez, inflamed knee. We don't know. Claimed that he's not in training, but we don't know. So there's a big question mark on him there. Matoma and Veltman fitness problems could keep them out. Alderete, he's got to be questionable at the moment just because he was sort of a question mark over him, but he has been seen in training, or rather there's been training pictures of him there, so I'd be confident that he's more in the available. Lyle Foster, we don't know. He's got a dead leg. I don't know whether that should keep him out, but we haven't seen any training pictures for that. But the Matt Parker seemed confident about him. Perry should be back, but probably on the bench this one. I think it's been confirmed that Darlow's going to start, but Perry is back to back, but he will just be a sub. Nouri Marmouche, fitness problems could keep them out, but they are pretty much back, so they may not start. Huang got an injury, we think, so it puts a question mark over him, as with Bellegarde as well. Jaden Anthony is just not been mentioned, so we can only assume he's probably available, but that does put the question mark is still there over him. Jimenez is going to be assessed, and so is Tete there, and Solanke. I think someone was mentioning in the live chat about some kind of Pedro mix up on social media or something, who's not been seen in training. Maresca was talking about Pedro Neto not being in training, which we know is a lie because he was in training and there's pictures of it anyway, but it was not João Pedro. He was firmly seen in training, and he's not been mentioned as in not training. So João Pedro is completely fine.
It was originally reported, I think, by Nazar Cancelo and others, that when he said Pedro, I think people jumped the gun and thought it was João Pedro first.
Yeah.
And then it was clarified that it was Pedro Neto. So you're right.
Meanwhile, in the outs, Grealish is ineligible. Odegaard's going to be out for a knee problem for weeks. Brooks got hamstring problems, going to keep him out for Bournemouth. Rodri's got a muscle problem, keep him out for Manchester United. Fulkrog is off for a scan, so that gives an opportunity for Marshall or Wilson. Or it could be that Bowen and Paqueta somehow play up front as well. I think there was rumours that they're going to be possibly trialling a 3-5-2, and so that could put those... could put Bowen up front as well. We don't know. Muniz is definitely out for Fulham with a hamstring problem. Anthony Robinson, we think as well, is out with a knee problem. And he's Basuma for Spurs, who's not getting minutes anyway. Ankle problem's going to keep him out. I think we've got most there.
I think so, Joe.
Good stuff. Excellent. Thanks for joining me. For just a reminder to people, do check out fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Look for the predicted lineups. Look for more team news on there. Look at our tweets and other social media about team news, because any more developments that come in, there's some of the sections in the press conferences are embargoed and they're not available until Saturday morning. Things like that. But you could just keep tabs on that as well there. So in the meantime, good luck with the game week, and good luck everyone watching and listening. Take care. See you soon.